Seven Footers crew, what's going on? It is another year, Jarod,
Mhm,
2023.
mhm,
How
mhm.
here we are. Every year I'm just so happy that we haven't fought each other and it's just been great.
Happy New Year. Everybody's back. Hope everybody had a nice holiday break. Enjoyed some time. You became an aunt times two. So, that means
Fun times.
that means your cash flow getting a little bit suspect because now you got to buy it for two children. How you feeling about
Jarod,
that?
Jarod. Hopefully her parents never listen to this or watch this. But I bought niece number one, my
Yeah.
OG, my
Yeah.
baby, my godchild,
Yeah.
this like $150 music box. Dude,
Ooh,
she gets it on Christmas Day. She could not be bothered because she got like some
really?
ice cream machine. So she was like, whatever, this is nothing. I'm like,
And
oh,
you're
this
like,
is something. You better play with this all day, every day. Oh my God. The money coming out of my account. I was like, what? No, I'm kidding. It was totally worth it. Had the best Christmas ever. The family's great. It was good.
That's too
Hey,
funny, man.
you
I
got to
love
do
it.
it for the kids.
Gotta,
Got to do it
that's
for the
that's what they say.
kids.
It's for the children, It's for the children. That's what it is. No, look, it was nice to get some time to downshift. Look, once again, I trounced you on Christmas Day, winning the Christmas Day matchups as I've done every year. Listen, it is what it is, right? That's just how things roll sometimes around here. It's fine. No, ain't no thing. We are where we are.
Okay, that is all true. 100% Gerard beat me again for the millionth time
Millionth
ever.
time, millionth
But like I
time. It's
said,
all good.
guys, it's consistency that is
Yep.
key that
Hmm.
wins the race here eventually, some race, whichever one it may be. But like
Yeah.
one day,
One
I
day,
will
one
beat you.
day, you are consistently winning your race. I love it. No, it's good. But it's been crazy around the association, man. Like we've been seeing some exciting things. Lots to get into.
So much to get into. And for some reason, we are still talking about the Nets. If there is not drama in Brooklyn, they are doing well, which is kind of annoying. So, whatever, we'll just get to it because they have had their winningest month in franchise history. I'm talking scoring parties, you might as well call it at this point. They should put a cap on these Brooklyn Nets because they just won their 12 straight with a win over the Spurs. Spurs, no surprise, of course, but still that number 12 in a row,
Hmm.
that starts not even just a momentum shift, but like a complete transformation, some would say.
Hmm.
We'll get
Hmm.
into it, but talk to me about your Brooklyn Nets here. As you guys know, Gerard in the locker room, in the know, on the
You
beat
know,
in Brooklyn.
Jenna, they're focused on basketball, right? We
It's
talked about
about
this.
time.
We talked about this on this show, right? What did I keep saying? I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? I'm waiting for Kyrie to do something. I'm waiting for something to happen. Well, it hasn't happened, right? He's been on his best behavior. The team is literally everybody's focused on ball. The other piece is they're healthy, right?
Yeah.
They have all their guys back for the most part. Everybody's healthy. And Jacques Vaughn, he's got them playing defense, Jenna. They're inspired. This is a team that is, light on elite defensive talent, right? But, Simmons, Durant, and Claxton, those three are plus defenders. Royce Young, a plus, so you get those guys out there and they're holding their own. They're committed. And you get a mark of how locked in a team is what they do defensively, particularly how the Nets play defense. There's a lot of switching. And when there's a
Yeah.
matchup that's disadvantageous for them, how fast they scram out of that matchup to get the right thing going. And they're connected on a string right now. Now, during this 12-game winning streak, they played a lot of the, dregs of the NBA. However, they also beat the Milwaukee Bucks, actually handily beat the Milwaukee Bucks,
The
and they beat
struggling Milwaukee Bucks right now.
mhm, and they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they're doing this against quality teams now, okay? And they're just finding ways to win. And look, again, it's Jacques Vaughn. He's got them inspired. He's also holding them accountable, Jenna. One of the things about superstar players that the average fan probably doesn't realize is those guys want to be held accountable and they want to be coached. And they're allowing Jock to coach them. And it's working. Everybody's bought in. And what's Kevin Durant's whole mission, Jenna? He just wants to hoop, right? That's his thing. I just want to come and play ball. I don't want all this other shit going on. Well, ain't no other shit going on right now. Everybody is hooping. But we know, Jenna, this is the NBA and storms are coming. That's just how
There's one brewing for them. I could
the
feel it.
season's just too long. Now, and when I say storm, I don't want people to be like, oh, Jarod, you're being a hater. No, I'm not saying something necessarily self-inflicted, but look, injury, like
Everyone has their lows. It's an
yes,
82 game season.
right? Something is going to happen. When it happens this time, this version of the team, Jenna, seems to be much better equipped than the version that started the season to weather a storm when it comes.
Absolutely. And you answer my question right there, kind of talking about coach. Just my thing was, he didn't come into the best situation. Let's be real. A lot of pressure. These aren't just, a few random players that you're coaching. These are perennial all-stars. They are, arguably the best 1 and 2 in the league, of course, besides LeBron James.
Well, listen, we're not doing that.
Yeah. No, but happy birthday, King. Anyway, my question was, I had to sneak it in there somehow. He wasn't on the show run.
All good.
But I was going to ask you, you're around coach more than me. What is it that these guys are buying into per se that they like? Yes, you said that he holds them accountable in the X's and O's of the game, of course, in the coaching seat. But what is it about this guy? Because it's really hard to be a liked coach.
Yes, he's made it simple, Jenna. You know the acronym KISS, and that stands for keep it simple, stupid, right? Like we know that look, for most people, that's how they want their work scenario to go. Just keep shit simple. Tell me what my job is and what I have to do, and I will execute it. And if everybody is doing their job, we will be fine. Well, that's what's happening here. Everybody's job is simplified. This is what it is. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. For instance, Ben Simmons. Jacques has said it. KD has said it. Kai has said it. Everybody said it. We don't care if he scores 2 points or 20 points. What we want you to do is when you are on there, your defensive matchup, you have to lock up whoever it is that you are assigned to cover. When you get the ball on offense, we want you to be aggressive. Push the pace, get us out into transition, right? Find guys and attack the rim where it's available. That's it. I don't care about shooting three. Do those things. Okay. Those are simple things I just said, right? Ben is doing those simple things.
And he's playing defense, which is what he's good at. Let's not forget that.
Huge. I mean, with Kyrie, it's like, look, bro, keep basketball the main thing. Focus on hoop and ball. When you come here, leave all out of this stuff aside. We're going to be here to support you. Just play ball. Shock of all shocks. Kyrie Irving is very good at basketball when he's focused. He's been incredible during this run. He is competing on defense. And of course, the metronome, the bellwether, Kevin Durant in year 15 is still amazing, playing MVP level basketball, right? Shooting 62% on twos, right? I mean, he is otherworldly right now. And when all those things are happening, Jenna, and we don't got to worry about, this vaccine thing, this person putting anti-Semitic. Oh, we just come into the arena and we're hooping. Shock of all shocks. It works. And as I mentioned, guys are healthy. And one of the other problems with this team was their size, right? When they had to play Patty and Kyrie together or Seth and Kyrie together, when you're playing against these big teams with big wings, you just, as I said, you can't grow. You are how tall you are. Well, they're getting great contributions from Yuta Watanabe, Royce O'Neal, TJ Warren. The smallest person that I mentioned of those three is O'Neal, who's 6'6". Listen, the hardest thing to do in this league, Jenna, is to score consistently oversized. It's just hard to do. Well, they have size now, right? And that's huge for them. Look, Patty Mills is basically out of the rotation. Unless they're blowing somebody out, he's not getting that much burn, right? So it's just they're bigger and they're able to do different things. And again, defensively, Jenna, this team is 10th in defensive rating right now, a top 10 defense. We know they can score the ball. 3rd in adjusted offensive rating, 4th in adjusted net rating. I mean, this is a recipe, Jenna, for success in the postseason.
100%. And let's also, as I continue to give the Nets their flowers, rare times for me, but they were also shorthanded. They didn't have
Mhm,
Royce. They didn't have
mhm,
Markieff
mhm,
Morris. And
mhm,
and what they just it was their first night back home after a road
mhm,
trip, 3 game
mhm,
road trip,
mhm,
and now they go on another 3 game road trip.
mhm, mhm.
So like things haven't been as easy. Yes, they're playing a little bit of teams, but
Listen,
they're
you
still pounding the pavement
you got to play who's in
for the
front of you.
floor.
You got to play whoever's in front of you. Okay, that's what the deal is. Yeah, guys are out, whatever. But guess what? When the Nets had all their injuries the last couple of years, nobody was crying for them, saying, "Oh, he's like you beat the Nets, right?" Okay, they're beating whoever's in front of them. And in a league, Jenna, and this year where you see no one's run away from this, right? There's no team that's like, all right, they're far 4, 5, 6 games out in front of the pack. One game separates the Nets from the number one seed, Boston. One game right now.
Yep.
In the Western Conference, three teams jumble the top of the conference. So in a year where no one is the clear cut favorite, you got to get wins where you can get them. Okay, so whoever's in front of you, you beat whoever's in front of you because they're going to be tough games ahead. But what this team is doing is really impressive to watch, and it's nice to see them focus on actual basketball.
Could not agree more. And I mean, yes, everything that you're saying is all true. And I linger on your every word because your basketball IQ is incredible. But I would say that the turnaround partially is because of, I don't know if you guys know this, but we talked about it a little bit on the pod. I came to Barclays to see my good friend Jarod. Me and my boyfriend rolled up, saw the Nets get smoked by the Celtics, and not really, it was kind of a close game. But we were just talking shit with Jarod about how they need to get their act
Mhm,
together. And then after that game, yes, they did lose, but I took one for the team because they lost in my presence. And then after that, boom, 12-game winning streak. Look
mhm.
who did it. I would say it was me.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Jenna, we will give you all the credit in the world.
Thank you. So before we do move on really quick, because I believe it was you that said, let's blow this whole thing up. We
I
need to
did.
do X, Y,
Yeah,
Z. And
no
you're
doubt.
always a man of your word. You'll admit it.
No doubt.
So right now, where they're at, 12-game winning streak, is it sustainable? Are they title contenders? What is your vibe? Because now we've been talking about this milestone. We're officially in the new year. So
Yeah,
this is it, baby.
Jenna, right now they're in a great spot. They don't have to do any panic moves or any panic trades, right? Trade deadline's not for another few weeks, right? In February. So they can keep riding this thing out and see where they are. Now, here's what I would do if I'm the GM of the Nets. Everything's rolling, shit is going smooth. Let's keep that going. But if for some reason things falter, right? An injury happens, all of a sudden the team starts looking crap, whatever.
Yeah.
You can then be like, okay, we didn't make any crazy moves before. Now we can figure out what we need to do. But if they're still rolling from the trade deadline, then now I'm thinking, okay, we have a legit shot. We are legit contenders. What can we do to bolster our center depth? They need another big man because they're light at the center position. Someone with a little bit more girth, Andre Drummond type, who they had last year,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just a bigger body. And if they can potentially, another backup wing ball handler creator, right? If they can do that, but I would say the center position, that's the one of most need. If they can address that and they stand pat again and assuming health, I mean, do you want to face Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in a best of 7 series?
No, please, God, no.
Right? I mean, these are two of the best isolation scorers in the history of basketball. And we know in the playoffs, when things bog down and you just got to get a bucket, I mean, those are the two of the best guys ever to just go get you a bucket, right? So, and they've got the right shooting around them with Joe Harris and Seth Curry, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, look, this and Ben Simmons is only getting better. So, yeah, as of right now, Jenna, this is sustainable. If they keep it up like this and they're able to weather any storms that come their way, I say yes, push the pedal forward.
All right. And that's all she wrote. I mean, Gerard, I like this streak. I have a good feeling about this. Could you imagine? Mm.
Listen, I think look for the Brooklyn fans, when they envisioned signing Durant and Irving, 3 years ago, they wanted perennial deep playoff runs and a title. Like it would be nice for this team to have a season where there is no injury drama and no self-created drama. Just let them play ball and see how they can do, focused on just basketball. How far can this team actually go? I think it would be nice for Brooklyn fans and nice for NBA fans to see that.
Right? Oh man, just head down on what, the F to Barclays, the
There you
NBA
go.
Finals, baby.
There
All
you
right.
go.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got time. So let's move on. We got to talk about these red hot Cleveland Cavaliers because Donovan Mitchell is
Mm.
having the best freaking debut season of any player to hop from their team that they were the franchise guy to another team and revive
Mm.
this franchise. He set a Cleveland record with 71 points, okay,
Mhm,
in a
mhm,
comeback win against the Bulls in overtime. This was a storybook game for him. I mean, he
mhm,
got them into overtime with like a weird circus shot that was unbelievable. Just incredible. I mean, and then he's up there with guys like Wilt and Kobe, the seventh player to notch 70 points in a game. So, talk to me about this performance first, because I mean, we know that Donovan Mitchell has this in him, but it only comes out once in a while. Like he'll have a huge game, like, but not like I don't know. I just feel like if he could do this night in again, not 70 points, but you know what I'm saying.
right, consistently, yeah.
Carry a franchise.
Jenna, so you were high on Donovan Mitchell when he came out of the draft. I
Since
was
day
less
one, D
so.
Mitch.
You were. I was less so. Even at the success he had in Utah, to me, I just saw him as a volume scorer. Right? I was like, he's just a guy that takes a lot of shots, and when he's cooking, okay, it works. But when he's ain't, you get when he's not, you're getting a lot of sort of poor nights.
Yeah.
In terms of efficiency. Jenna, since he's come to Cleveland this year, he's having the best season of his career. I'm just going to give you some numbers.
Yes.
Efficiency
Love it.
wise, 64% true shooting, 59% effective field goal. That is insane. 41% on threes on 9 threes a game, 87% from the free throw line. He is at his best estimated plus minus of his career, 5.1. That is in the 96th percentile in the NBA. Jenna, he has been an all-star 3 times already. He is playing now like an all NBA guy. And if he is that dude, well, look out. And on defense, Jenna, look, he ain't no all defensive guy, but he is competing on that end of the floor. He's playmaking. He is a brilliant, brilliant player. And look, I will admit when I'm wrong or when I think of players like I did not know he could get to this ceiling, and I think he's even got another level he can get to. Look, this is a guy who we're talking about could be a perennial all NBA guy. When you're doing that, Jenna, you're talking about potential MVP like discussions, level of player. That's where I think he can get to if he continues on this path. And it's wonderful for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that performance last night, I mean, my God, Jenna, 22 of 34 from the field, which is just ridiculous. 7 of 15 from three, 20 of 25 from the line. He also had 11
From the
assists, 8
line.
rebounds. I mean, he was outstanding. And the Cavaliers needed every single one of those points
Yeah.
because they had no Darius Garland and Karis LeVert wasn't hitting shots.
Yeah.
It was a rough night for them scoring. Jared Allen and Chetty Osman were the only 2 other players that were scoring for them. So they
Yeah.
needed all points.
Yeah, they came down from like 21, I think it
Mhm.
was.
Yep.
And also, how about this for a stat? Donovan Mitchell scored or assisted on 99 points. That's the second most in a game in NBA history and the most since Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. That's just the coolest stat I've ever heard. Like the layers of that stat.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned he's only the 7th player. So Wilt Chamberlain, by the way, scored at least 70 points 6 times in a game. 6 times. Yes, obviously the only person to ever do that.
Yeah.
So Wilt, Kobe, you mentioned,
Mhm.
Elgin Baylor, David Thompson, David Robinson. Who am I missing? And Devin Booker. Those are the
Yes.
other 6 guys who have scored at least 70 points in an NBA game, and they've only done it once. Wilt at least Wilson 70 at least 6 times. 6 times. Insane. Of course, we know he had his famous 100-point game.
Yeah.
But Donovan's ability, and he's that kind of guy, Jenna. Like he's cooking. And when he's going and the Cavaliers are going, this is a really, really excellent team. They have a bright, bright future in Cleveland. Look, when LeBron left, they were like, oh my God, disaster. What's going to happen? hey man, with the young talent they have and with Mitchell, their future's looking mighty bright in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's securing himself for like the long term there. I mean, even the fan base, how they've embraced him. I read his recent interview with like Anscape, I think it was. It seems like it fits like a glove. So super happy for him. Didn't seem like Utah was his vibe. But with this performance, it adds on to
Hmm.
insane score barrages that we're seeing all over the league. I'm
Hmm.
talking Luka, Klay,
Giannis,
Devin Booker, Giannis.
Devin,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just yeah.
I mean, like numbers that it's almost getting casual at this point, which is weird.
Mm, mm.
And, what do you think about such a high scoring individual performance by these guys? I mean, of course, these are an elite group of guys I just named, but is like, what's the deal here? I mean, we know Luca thinks it's easier to score here than the Euro League,
I mean,
but this is wild.
Jenna, it is. Look, if you are a casual NBA fan, or you just like basketball, but you're like, I don't know much about the NBA. I don't know how you're not like obsessed with this league right now. The
Yeah.
level of talent that we have that is spread all across this league is the best it has been in the entire history of the league.
Yeah.
Yes, the history of the
Loaded.
game. The level of talent, top to bottom, has never been better. We have elite players all over the place. All over the place. Phoenix, Memphis, New Orleans, New York, LA, just everywhere there are guys who are good. And, it is, we're seeing a level of skill, Jenna, that's just so high. Back in the day, the league was full of a lot of guys that were just big bruising dudes, right? Like who
Yeah.
just
A
were
lot of
big,
bully ball.
right? Who were just big dudes who weren't really high on skill. Now you have everyone just about is so highly skilled in this league. You have to be. So not only are they big, they're big and they're skilled. Of course, look, someone like Kevin Durant was, I mean, I say this all the time. If that dude was dropped into the 1980s, they would put him on trial for witchcraft. They'd be like, "What the hell?" They'd be like, "What the hell is this? Why is a 7-foot dude shooting 28-footers and hitting people with crossovers and pulling up from the midi?" Like, yeah, that's the thing. Because back in the day, when you were a big dude, they just threw you down to the post. You didn't work on any skill development, right? Everybody has skills now in this league, right? And it's just making the league so much more fun, and it's just incredible to watch. And yeah, defense is harder to play now because you got to cover so much more ground, right? Teams routinely put up 25, 30, 35, 43s a night. You got to cover the 3-point line. You got to cover the paint. I mean, you can't take away everything, right? You can only guard one thing at a time. And so this is what we're seeing now is the evolution of basketball. And it's awesome. If you are a fan of basketball, the NBA is the best league in the world by far. How are you not tuned in on League Pass every night? I mean, like the
League
Sacramento Kings
pass.
are good, right? I mean, come on, like there
That's
is
when you
just
know. If you're a listener to this podcast, that's when you know.
it's just incredible. And that's what we're seeing right now. We're just seeing the best of the best, and the league is full of elite talent, right? I mean, your top guys in the league, as it relates to EPM, Jenna. We're talking about Luka, Jokic, Embiid, KD, Tatum, Lillard, like all these guys, they're incredible. And Donovan Mitchell, right? Like Booker, these guys are elite at scoring the basketball. Elite. And
Elite.
when you can do that, sometimes it doesn't matter how good defense you play, they're gonna score anyway because they're just that good, right? That's just how it goes.
That is just how it goes. And speaking of that, we got to give a shout out to Dame on this podcast because God only knows when we're going to talk about the Trailblazers again. But him individually, he stays balling in Portland. That's all I will say because I mean, geez. But yeah, it's incredible right now what we're seeing, and it's only going to get better. It's a great time for the NBA right now. These young guys are, I mean, talk about pass the torch. They're just literally like racing with it. So let's talk real quick before we wrap it up. Our top 5 NBA teams
Mm,
right now. Not to get this confused with in general in the league. Oh, they're going through a slump. Right now, where we
yeah.
stand on January 3rd, we're recording this. Our top 5 NBA teams.
All right. I'm gonna go at number 5, the New Orleans Pelicans. They are 23 and 14 now. Zion just got hurt, a little hamstring issue. He's going to be out. So waiting
And you
on
don't
Brandon
play with a
Ingram.
hamstring.
He might come back later this week. So they're going to have a little bit of tough time, but this team is rolling. They are, let me pull up my notes here.
They
They
were
are
on
fifth
mine, so I guess I'll stay at 5.
in adjusted net rating, 8th in offense, 5th in defense. They're an excellent squad. So that's my number 5. Is that who you have for 5 too?
I had them on my list. I was just like, I don't know what order, because it was them or the Kings I was going to put at 5.
Okay,
But
well.
we just mentioned the Sacramento Kings. I mean, ballin', again, great new coaching that, just talk about a team that climbed out of the trenches. Okay. Let's just call a spade a spade.
No
Right
doubt.
now, 1916, but they're 5th in the West. I mean, you're above the Suns, the Warriors. I would say the Lakers, but a lot of people wouldn't. But yeah, no, they're balling. Domantas Sabonis is just elite this season, and flowers to him. I mean, you can't not.
Oh, I love Domas. Domas is my guy. All right, 4th, I got the Denver Nuggets.
Ooh, the number 1 in the West, Denver Nuggets?
Number 1 in the West. Now, Jenna, look, we know they're elite on offense, but my God, they can't guard anybody. If they're going to advance, they have got to shore up that end of the floor, because they cannot guard to save their lives. Got to get better defensively.
Oh my God, you kill me. You kill me. I am going with, where am I saying? I'm saying in the West. And I'm going to go with the Grizzlies.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Not to put them so down on the list, but because they've been
good.
doing their thing, but to maintain this and stay at the top like this in a competitive West is really impressive to me, because I know that the Grizzlies have a lot of ambition, but to back it up too, because they talk a lot of shit. Let's just be honest. They are the number one shit talking
team in the league.
But I guess when Ja Morant gets a shoe and stuff, you really play well. So yeah.
All right, I will put the Grizzlies in my number 3 as well. Look, no one needs to know how everyone knows how I feel about the Grizzlies. Number 3 in adjusted net rating. Their offense is tanking a little bit, 14th. They're a little wobbly on offense, but number 1 in adjusted defensive rating, and that is sparked, of course, by Jaren Jackson Jr., who is incredible on the end of the floor. So Grizzlies are my number 3 team. Who you got for number 2?
Number 2, I have No, I'm kidding. I have the Cavaliers. I just think that they're incredible. Of course, we just had that whole conversation about Donovan Mitchell, but talk about a turnaround. And when I was in Cleveland last February, when they still had this awesome roster, I was thinking to myself, sitting there in Cleveland in the goddamn freezing cold, the Cavaliers have something here. Every one of their guys, not everyone, but you know what I mean? They had a big presence at All-Star, and that was really the kind of development of that. And then, you see how Kevin Love is the anchor of this team, and they're it for me. I think they're gonna surprise a lot of us.
They're excellent. Shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They fell out of my top 5 because they've been wobbly a little bit of late, but they're right there. They're right there. Look, number 2, I got to go with the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they are the second best team record-wise in the NBA. They're on the 12-game winning streak, as we mentioned. Kevin Durant playing like an MVP. Kyrie Irving playing well. They're guarding on the defensive end. I just said 10th in defense, 3rd in offense, 4th in adjusted net rating. Look, they're legit. That's a legit squad. And again, if they can keep it focused on basketball, this is a team that you don't want to see in the postseason.
Amen. I'm so glad.
All right. Number 1. Who's number 1?
Well, it's boring because my number 1 is the Nets.
That's all right.
I mean, 12 straight. How could
straight.
I not?
12 straight.
But yeah,
12
we
straight.
had a whole conversation about it.
Yep.
They're playing defense, which is the key for them. Obviously, we know they could play offense. They could fill up the box score, but defense. And you've been preaching this.
Yeah, they're playing well. We talked about them at the top of the show. Happy for the Nets. Look, number 1 for me is still the Boston Celtics. Number 1 adjusted net rating. They're back to being a top flight defensive team. They're 7th in defense, number 1 in adjusted offensive rating. Look, this team is on a mission. They want to get back to the NBA Finals and hopefully finish business. Jenna, I say all the time, when you're in the NBA Finals and you're up and you have a lead, you rue that day sometimes because you're like, man, are we ever going to get back here again? Well, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are doing everything they can to make sure the Celtics get back. We will see. Right now, best team record-wise, number 1 in adjusted net rating. And they're still, despite some hiccups, lost to Denver to kick off this road trip. We'll see how they bounce back, but still, right now, by a game, best team in the NBA.
For real, which says a lot too, because again, it's really hard to come back and repeat. It is. It like even as far as you want to make it, it is. So yeah, that's what we got cooking right now, guys. Stick with us. It's 2023. I almost said 2013. It's 2023. We're
It
not going
is.
back in time.
Nope.
Grateful that y'all are still here with us, kicking it. We love to do this with you guys.
As always, guys, you know where to find us: Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, at 7footers Pod on Twitter, at 7footers Podcast on Instagram, at JS Hector, at Gentleman Selly. No episode next week, as I will be on a much needed vacation. So
You
we'll
going
see
off
you
the grid.
going off the grid. We will see you guys when I get back the week after. Until then, enjoy NBA basketball. Peace.
Peace.
Spent a couple years out here with these raps, trying to have a plan that we made come true. Applied to some jobs, but I ain't hit back.